suite out of it, built the stairway up to it, and put the skylights. What a job he did too. He put the cement on the exterior and a cob on the interior. So it's very soft, and it does. When the cracks came through and the rain came over 20 years now, it would fall apart a little bit here and there. But when I came 8 years ago, I redid it completely and put some furniture and made it so we could use it as a revenue source. And it's pretty nice. Do you like it? Yeah. And at night when the moon's going, yeah, you can see the moon shine through. Yeah. Seeing how little we need to talk, you probably are learning about that, right? I just don't need to ask you whether it's right or wrong, because I know you go like this. But again, I'm not requesting you to speak. I'm not requesting you to speak. This is a teepee. This was put in only 2 years ago as overdue revenue. Before this, we had a tent here, and before that, there was a fire pit. It's an ancient. This is a sacred ancient spot, as you can see. For many ancient moons, the great chiefs and the Indians that lived here used this spot for ceremonies. It was found an ancient fire pit and things like that were all found here. And this is now, because we're going to be putting it back to the fire pit one day. Ephedrine is a material that's used to, ephedra tea they make. It's kind of a stimulant. And from that they also do some pharmaceuticals too. They're made from this. You can find ephedrine all over Morongo and some up here too. We're in the middle of a drought, so some of these bushes don't look the right direction doing so well, but others grow this way. That's like the gray bush. That's the ball bush, but there's gray bushes. They're called gray bush. There, you can see one right there. It's a gray bush, and it stays just like that. And they must be 800 years old, guys. So some of those they just don't budge. When they get, you can't even imagine how slow they grow. They grow very slow. Particularly interesting rock carvings are called petroglyphs. Was put here, and you can see. Look, this is an ancient tree that grew out of here. It was a pinyon pine. It probably grew giant here. Must have been beautiful. Or it could be oak. Actually, it could be oak too. They grow like that one. But this must have been chopped down. It looks like it was after maybe it died. So this area here. We found, we just have this here now for fun, but there it is, the ancient petroglyph, right there. It's a ram. You can see the spots. This is made by one technique. The one technique is to grab each one of these with one chip. One chip had to be had by a super hard quartz rock. It had to be quartz because nothing else can cut into granite. Quartz is the only thing that we have stronger here. So the ancient guy who did it, and by the way, he had to be very tall, or the ground fell away over 1,000 years, which we're pretty sure is what happened. Since it couldn't have been done, we don't think this was done by a professional chipper or any kind of metal tools. It was clear that the guy who did it had to have a rock like this for a hammer, and then a rock like this or bigger that was harder than granite. And he would just, but I don't think it had to be this small. He had to find rocks. It must have taken months because to find the right rocks to make the chip. I don't know if this would do it. This looks like it's pretty quartzy. This is quartz, so. But either way around, he would have to set this up here, put it in position, and bam! One hit, and that would make the chip. If you did more than one hit, it would make a smattering. You can see. So each little dot had to be just one hit. Now the ancient, archaeologists that clarified this for us was that the guy couldn't have done the strength that he needed there without the ground being up to at least and higher here, because there's two of them. One's on that rock there that I'm going to show you, and it was a rock that he stood on there, and he was right here. This is how he did it, at the most here. So this ground has fallen away 3 feet, they think, and that's about how deep the fire pit was that we found underground, down at the entrance area. There was a fire pit dug up and found, and it was now it's a kiva has been built around it. You can go see it and burn fire in it. So we think pretty much 1,000 years or more. This was done. This ground fell away, and then there's another one over there. I'm going to show you too. More petroglyphs inside this outcropping, which is an amazing outcropping. Look at it. Imagine living there. The people that lived here at ancient times, they must have loved their house. They had skins hanging and things like that they hunted, and meat drying on rocks, and they did their kitchens and preparation areas inside there. But in there is also another petroglyph, which is done by a metal tool. It was probably a carving tool. It was done centuries later. Probably in the last 100 years, but Garth, not during the time Garth's been here, which is 42 years. So it must have been before. So before him, he found this place, and it was owned by a guy who lived in L.A. His name is Cal Worthington. He owned a company that was a Ford car dealership. And it was Worthington, yeah. Well, he owned the land, but he'd never been here ever. All 600 acres, it was 640 acres a square mile, that's the land. And he'd never been here, so it was abandoned, and people had taken over gun shooting here. Bam, 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 bam. And they're leaving cars abandoned, and leaving TVs and things that they would burn. It was just a shame and a smattering of awful no care. So when Garth bought it in 1980, he spent 3 years cleaning it up. And by the way, when I came 35 years later, I spent 3 years cleaning it up again. Because more had happened in those 35 years than what happened since it had been left by the people of Garth that came up to visit. It was tough. They would leave things. There was a lot of moving into caves. There was a lot of stuff left around that Garth couldn't see. So when we got here, we handled it. And over here, you'll come. There's the other one. And that is what it is 2 ram facing each other at the crux of the entrance to the vortex, which was what the archaeologists said, that the person who did that had to be a chief, and he was identifying a place of food, water, and shelter. And look at it, isn't it? Don't you think the people that came over this rig came like, oh my God, this is it. I'll take it. And they probably put their deposit down and moved in. But and many families probably were raised here. There's so many places to habitat, and with all the acorns, the pinyon pine trees for pine nuts, the many different flowers and buckwheat, you could totally live here. Yep. So on that one, there's a man and a hashtag. Or a sun, we could think it is. But yeah, it took a lot of dots. him home. Oh, this is super cool. Yeah, more places. There are many places like this here that are filled with crevices and cracks that you can't even imagine how many are in that pile of rocks over there and here. We don't know even about, but yet we found this one, and there's so many, the way the rocks have and fallen and maybe moved around in the ground to create these kind of things. It's pretty interesting. A lot of them have, the way it's created is these rocks pop. Their air is inside these rocks. Not this one. There's a hole. Okay?
Mm.
That one. Now what?
Mm. Mm-hmm.
So you can take 2 people and a couple dishes. You can play and jam with 2 people. So what happens is these chips fall, see? And the whole place, slowly but surely, will become eventually the same. It's an amazing long process, but we don't know when or how, but stunning, huh? So we think the Earth is shaped like this too. In other words, there are big pockets of air underneath our crust, similar to what we're, and that contain water too, by the way. They could contain water because of the idea behind this being stored in there, yeah. And you just eventually chip off slowly but surely. See, here's one here. Who knows where that came from, but it doesn't look like there, but it's possible. Somewhere, yeah. And this one here, this looks like, yeah, something about there. It's amazing. You can put the puzzle back together. Yes, you see, this was part of a, see? So underneath the Earth, there might be huge crevices, areas that are miles and hundreds of miles wide that have areas that are habitable underground. Hi, Mike. How are you doing? Okay. Now, I like to take people over here to show you this view. So follow me. It's a little adventure, but we'll make it. So here and here. If you need me to hold something, I will. And up here. This is our meditation. You can meditate here and really get the sunrise. That is our amphitheater. The amphitheater Garth built in the 80s. And you can't see it, but it's around those boulders. There's a stage. And they're going to have a big show here this weekend. It's called the Umbrella Group, and they come every year for 9 years now. And they do an event with dance music and people. It's an amazing event. Every year they do it. So they're starting to linger in now, but over the next day or 2 days, there'll be 100 people here. And a bunch of motorhomes and all the fun stuff. So this is, and that's Pipes Canyon. And out there you see those tops that are all shaved off there. Some of them are ancient volcanoes and that were topped off by an iceberg that came through here and shaved off a lot of these tips. You can see the plateaus. Now most all that land is owned by a conservatory called the Mojave Land Trust. They bought it because they knew what could happen out here with civilization. This is called Gamma Gulch. That whole area of smattering of rocks there on that valley over there is called the Gamma Gulch. And it goes all the way up into those hills. It's an amazing place, and there are people that live back there quite a bit. Yep. how bliss it is.
Mm-hmm.
No cars, traffic, no sounds. This is nice. Who knows what's going on there? Looks like a nice place to sleep. And down this here looks like a, ooh, look at that. That one leads you to a, who knows what, I think that would have been a house down there. Somebody would have called that home maybe. Honey, I'm home. And go down there, have breakfast, go back out to work. Yeah, this is too much for me. Okay, let's go to the next place. Okay, go this way, yeah. Okay. This right here, this is an oak tree. Puts out acorns, but look, the mistletoe is taking over it. It's now eating away, sucking the life out of the oak tree. And here you have, these are not the acorns, these are the balls that the acorns get seeded from. The acorns come out on a little cap. And I don't see them here, they've all been gone, but down here you can find, these are the balls, and I'm looking for a cap. I don't see them, but the acorns grow in, oh here it is. Yeah. See, it grows right on here, and the acorn actually grows out of that, and that's what's left over after it. But the birds all get them. All the animals eat them. And then but this one, the mistletoe, is taking it away. Feel free to grab some if you want to take it back for Christmas. It stays good refrigerated. Following this way, I'm going to go down into the wild birds see everywhere there. Okay. Shucks. Better talk.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay, come on. Any kind is okay. Just get the ones without the corn. See, this way comes down here. A little bit twisty. So this way, look how these are sharp. Yeah. And into what is called the Crystal Cathedral One Entrance. Here, we built this here. You just put this dirt and put the rock there, and it's a really nice place to meditate. You set up a little small tent, because some people do that once in a while. Okay. Now, be careful here. We're going into a small entrance. We're going into this complex. You're going to see the Crystal Cathedral, and the light is going to be perfect right now.